Hello. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. If not, please let me know in the questions along the side here. All right. So I am David Picciuto, the drunken woodworker, and today we're just going to have a little chat about selling and marketing your stuff. So I do a decent amount of craft shows, usually in the fall and a couple in the spring. And the fall ones are coming up. Um, they usually happen um, late September, November, and December for the holidays. And a lot of those registrations are now opening. Some are even closing now. So if you want to get in these fall shows, you're going to have to find them and apply for them now. As always, I always suggest going for um, the juried ones, the ones where you usually you pay like a submission fee of $5 to $20, and then if you get accepted, then you have to pay a table fee of, and it ranges anywhere from 50 to hundreds of dollars. So let's get this started with a video question. Let's see here. I'm new to this, so you have to bear with me. This one comes from Chris, and hopefully you can all see this and hear this. All right, thanks, Chris, for sending that to me. He wants to, right now, Etsy is it's a big controversial subject because last fall they changed their who could post and sell on Etsy. It used to be just handmade stuff and vintage stuff. And then last fall they changed it to pretty much anybody could sell on there. You could manufacture stuff and sell it on there. And Etsy went from thousands of sellers to over 1 million sellers now. And because of that, you are now in this sea of millions of other people selling stuff, including manufacturers. So it's harder to get found in Etsy, and this has upset a lot of Etsy people. And my Etsy sales are way, way down. Um, I usually don't sell much in the summer. It's usually in the fall, and there's usually a little burst in the spring. But I have sold nothing in weeks, and I've talked to a couple friends here. One who makes dresses and sells on Etsy, and one, oh, I'm getting a message that I couldn't hear the video question. So I'm sorry about that. If you didn't hear the video question, Chris was asking um, about downtime in Etsy and how to get the Etsy sales back up. And so, like I said, like Etsy changed the way they worked last fall, and my Betty, the dressmaker friend, and my friend Amy, who sells um, uh, handmade yarn, um, talked to them briefly, and their Etsy sales are way down as well because they're allowing all these other people on there. So it's a little bit harder to be found, and everybody's sales are way down. This is upsetting a lot of people. Um, I don't know really how to get around this. You could, which probably just needs you need to brand market yourself even more. If you're making wood items, you probably want to start a blog. You probably want to have Pinterest. You probably want to have Facebook and Twitter, and build up a following. So when you release a new product, you can use social media to get the word out. Um, things can get pretty popular pretty quick on Pinterest. So Pinterest is definitely a must. Um, yeah, so it's a tough one because there's only there's only one Etsy right now, and I feel like it's going in the wrong direction. And I feel like it's going to be the MySpace of the internet. I think something else is going to come along soon and take over. Because I doubt that they're going to go back to removing manufactured items from their website, because I'm sure that's a big moneymaker for them, and it's a big loss for all of us handmade people. So, yeah, Etsy's a tough one right now. Um, I don't sell any of my handmade stuff on my website, but I'm definitely going to, just because I haven't sold much on Etsy. So, yeah, that's a kind of a long answer, and not even a real answer, but yeah, unfortunately, Etsy kind of sucks right now. All right, so the first question from the chat. This one is from Matthew. Hi, Matt. Can you talk a little bit about branding and how you come up with a good brand, and how do you go about developing a branding strategy? Well, there's two parts to branding. There's the visual side, and so you need to come up with a logo, um, and a look on how that logo will appear in different forms of media, whether it's print or your website, um, or your YouTube channel or whatever. So you need to have an identity, something when somebody sees that logo, no matter how big or small, it's very recognizable. And those colors, somebody, so that they know that those colors belong to you. Like now, when I see orange, I think of Bob from I Like to Make Stuff. His logo and his branding are so good. So Bob is a great example of that good visual identity. The other part about branding is defining who your audience is and um, marketing towards them. Now, as woodworkers, you can't just say your audience is woodworkers. That's pretty broad. And so what I've done is I'm narrowing that down, and I am saying I'm marketing towards the crafty people of woodworking, people who make crafts and try to sell them. So I'm narrowing that down. Like Woodworking for Mere Mortals, I believe his niche would be projects that anybody can do with limited tools or limited skill set. So I think you need to find your audience, define that, and market to them. So there's the visual part, and then there's the identifying your audience part. So that's a big part of the branding strategy. Um, so hopefully I answered that. Oh, wait. Let's talk about beer for a second. All right, tonight I am drinking Great Lakes Brewing Company. This is the Burning River. This is made about 2 miles from me in Cleveland, Ohio, and it is tasty. Oh, by the way, this is our hourglass for the night, so once this is gone, the show's over with. Just kidding. All right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so John was asking what kind of beer is everybody drinking? And so I just answered that. I also have another one on deck, the Edmund Fitzgerald Great Lakes. I don't know if you guys get Great Lakes where you're at, but it's some tasty beers. All right. Next question here. David, which venues would you consider to be the most successful selling your wood crafts? Craft shows, internet, consignment shops, or a combination if you're building full time? And what about the legalese side of business, such as taxes and permits? Well, if any money that you make selling stuff, you have to claim. I suggest for your purposes, if you want to have this more than just a hobby, if you want to do it full time, or if you just want to do it as supplemental income, I suggest separating that money, open up a new bank account, maybe file for an LLC. If it gets a little bit more complicated, but not too much, if you are actually selling at craft shows and craft fairs, because um, you have to get a vendor's license, and it's in Ohio. It's I think $50 for the vendor's license, and I'm not sure if that's yearly or lifetime. I think it's lifetime. And then depending on where you at, you may have to file what you make in each county as well. So I can't answer too much about the legal side of it. I know that I have mine as a separate business. I have a separate bank account, and I keep it separate from my personal finances. The most successful in selling your wood crafts. For a while, it was Etsy. I was doing really well on Etsy, and then that kind of took a downturn. The fall craft circuit, especially the juried ones, I do really well. I was very, very surprised on like how much money I did make, and so I mean you can easily make about a profit of $1,000 if you take the right stuff. You can also I've also had friends who have had great shows one week, go to the next show in the next city the next week, and have done horrible. So it's really about defining who your audience is and trying to sell to them. So if you like the craft show um, that I do in Toledo every year, I know exactly who my audience is. They're kind of like they're people who are there to spend money, and um, they like nice, pretty things, I guess. So I know I'll do well there. I'm trying to get into a couple in Cleveland and Akron this fall, and I don't know what my audience is going to be there. So I'm going to try to take a variety of things. I'm going to sell my normal stuff. And I don't know, I guess we'll just see what happens. It's a learning process, and sometimes you have to call an audible while you're there and change things up. Um, I always suggest not throwing when you're at these craft shows, not throwing everything out on the table at one time, and you don't want to give them too many choices. You don't want them paralyzed by choice, and so yeah, consignment shops. I've sold a few things at the Art Supply Depot here in town. I also have uh, one or two things at a local art gallery. I've never sold anything at the art gallery, and I've sold a handful of things at the art shop um, on consignment. It's hard to make a lot of money at that, or at least for me and what I make. So yeah, I would say right now to answer that question, I would mostly be the shows, and I want to get the internet. I want to sell more on the internet, so I got to figure out how to do that. So you guys can all kind of join the ride with me, and I will learn the best ways. I'm hoping once I start selling some of the stuff on my website that I will actually make more on my website than I do on Etsy. So we'll see. Boo Etsy right now. All right, next question. Ooh, what is the right stuff to take to a craft show? What is the motivating factor for people to purchase? The right stuff to the craft show, I learned very quick. It is a long, long day. So think about yourself. You not even thinking about what you're taking to sell, but take something to stand on. You need just a carpet or one of those spongy pads. I can't think of what they're called right now to stand on because it's a long day, 6 to 8 hours of standing and selling all day. So you also want to be comfortable, and you want to take food and water and somebody to help you out because you're going to need bathroom breaks. You're going to want to get away from for food. Some of these shows, they will actually have volunteers that come around to your table and will watch your stuff as you go for a bathroom break or to get food or a coffee or whatever. So, so you're not miserable. You have to think about yourself. So, the right stuff sometimes is putting yourself first. Um, as far as what to take to the craft show to sell, I've made a lot of bandsaw boxes, and I thought my bandsaw boxes looked great. I thought I had them priced right, and when I went to my first show, the very first thing that I ever sold at a show was one of my bandsaw boxes, and I thought, and it happened within minutes, and I was like, this is going to be fantastic. This is awesome, and now I've only sold a handful. What does sell is smaller, cheaply priced objects because you have to remember that these are impulse buys, and um, I just don't think people want to spend $200 on a box, but they will pull out a 20 to buy a wine display, uh, little desktop type things, art-based picture frames and type stuff. I think my one of my best sellers that I seem to make a lot of money on is the wine display. So you have the wine bottle and then the piece of wood with a hole in the middle that goes over top of it, and then you hang two glasses on it. I don't have any in the shop right now, but I sell a ton of those in the fall, and because people buy them for Christmas presents. So I have a video out on them. It's one of the first videos I've ever done, and it's painful for me to watch. So I actually think I'm going to remake that video in a couple weeks, and maybe incorporate some new ideas. So as a woodworker, if you're looking to figure out what to make and sell, the wine and cheese people are the ones that like to spend money on nice wood products. So sometimes cutting boards would do well, but the wine displays definitely do real well. So yes. And right stuff is trying to figure out who your audience is and what you like making. So thank you. All right. Is this going well for everybody? I think I was a little nervous at first because I didn't know how well this was going to go, but um, we're doing all right now. Mm, mm. Let's see. Um, how many hourglasses do you have in the fridge? I got these two right here, warming up. Let's see. All right. This one is from Mark. In my area, the woodworking community seems to be in the 60 plus category. How do you suggest finding others locally that are younger or get younger people interested in woodworking? Mm, that is a tough one because I actually don't know that many woodworkers here in Toledo. I have a couple good friends. And one of them actually makes woodworking videos, and he lives just down the street, and his name is Chad Stanton. He has a YouTube channel, Wood Chopping Time. You should check him out. But yeah, it is hard to find like-minded, like-aged people in your area. I would say Facebook has like an awesome search that you can use. Um, Up at the very top of Facebook, if you type in, let's see, you're in Orange County. If you type in woodworkers in Orange County in Facebook and hit return, you're going to see a good result of all the woodworkers, people who like woodworking on Facebook, and that's a good way to do that. I would imagine you have a Rockler or a Woodcraft in your area. You should check out the usually on Saturdays they'll have some sort of woodworking demonstration, and I've gone to a couple of them, and usually it is the 60 plus crowd. Nothing against the 60 plus crowd, but you always want to find um, people with the same interest as you. You'll definitely run into some. You're not definitely, but you can definitely run into some younger folks. So hopefully that helps. Just try to get involved in more community things. Um, yeah, that is a tough one. I think we just need more younger woodworkers. There's a lot of artists in my area who aren't woodworkers, but they incorporate wood into some of their art. And there's a ton of art-based events in my area, and so maybe need to expand your the people that you're looking for, and 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 just look for makers like-minded makers, because this whole maker thing is blowing up right now, and I think just being around other people who make stuff is very inspiring and can um, light that creative spark. So thank you, Mark. Let's see. Thanks, Dustin, for the nice words. Mm. All right. This one is from Clyde. Hey, David. Sorry I'm late. I forgive you. Needy ass kids, lol. Do you make any money off your YouTube channel? Just been wrestling with starting a channel with project videos, but I'm wondering if it will pay off for itself. The answer is yes. I don't make a lot of money off my woodworking channel. It's actually It's really, really hard to find out how much money people are making from YouTube. Even when you research it a lot, it's a pretty secretive society. Um, so for a long time, I was against putting ads on my videos. I just thought they would devalue my videos. And then one day I'm like, what happens if I just turn ads on? And I turned them on, and I got no complaints at all. And and I started seeing some money roll in. Not a lot. I definitely don't make anywhere near enough money to make a living just from YouTube. Um, and if you want to do that, and someday I would like to get to that status, but you need a lot you need a lot of views and a lot of videos and a lot of and not just views and videos, but you need a lot of good views and videos. Um, so like somebody like Steve, um, he has hundreds of videos, so he probably gets thousands and thousands and thousands of views every day because videos on YouTube don't really get old. If you do a search on how to make um, a chess set or whatever, that doesn't matter if that video is a week old or a year old. It's still relevant and it's going to get views and it's going to make you a few pennies every time somebody clicks on the ad. Sometimes you make a few cents just by the ad appearing. So you need lots of videos and lots of good videos and lots of time. So it's I say turn it on and see what happens. If you find that you're not getting enough views to um, if it's not worth the couple bucks that you're making and you feel like you're annoying your viewers, just turn them off. So yes, yeah. So I don't make my living just from YouTube. I make it from a lot of things combined. And so YouTube is one of those streams that I'm going to work on and hopefully make more money with that later. So thank you, Clyde. Mm. Rob asks, what sort of markup do you put on your products? That's a tough one. I try not to price my products based solely on time and cost of materials. I've actually never really figured out like I get asked this all the time from family like, well, how much is this wood in this box worth? And I'm like, well, I really don't know. I'd have to sit here and figure it out. Um, I when I'm pricing stuff, I start off with a guess. I just kind of make up a number that I think it is worth, and I will usually make a good amount of that same product. And if it sells really well, I will probably raise my prices next time. If it doesn't sell well at all, I will lower my prices and try to find that happy area. Some things just don't sell at all, and I'm like, okay, I need to give these away and not make any more of these things. So hopefully that answers your question. I know pricing is difficult for everybody. I think even if you've been doing it for a long time, pricing's always going to be difficult. So thanks, Rob. Let's see here. You would think that the questions showing up on the right side would all be ordered by the amount of pluses they got, but that is not the case. And maybe there's a way to do that, and I'm just a noob. Oh, yeah, and yeah. So I think I sort of answered William's question here. How do I determine the price of items? I just guess, and then I will whatever price I give an item, and I stick with that price for the whole day. You don't want to change your prices at a craft show in the middle of the day. So yes, guess and then go from there. Adjust as needed. Let's see here. I need some hold music, huh? Ru- Russ says, "Hey, don't knock us 60 plussers. Some of us are still breathing and able to make sawdust. And despite the stuff, the 70s, we remember our shops. We remember where our shops are sometimes. I am sorry. Hopefully we didn't come across as rude to the 60 plussers. I hope I make it to 60 plus. I hope I'm still in my shop at 60 plus. My grandfather, who's in his 90s, is out in the wood shop every day making birdhouses. He just took on an order of 20 birdhouses from his local church. So I hope to be like my grandpa someday. So thanks and sorry, Russ. Let's see. This one from Travis. That's a good one. What strategies do you follow? Oop, not that one. Here, let's see. What are your thoughts on utilizing your name as a brand versus coming up with a company style name? And this is a good one. There's an author named Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's written 4 or 5 books, I think 4 books, and he is all about branding and social media. So if you really want to look more into branding yourself, check out Gary Vaynerchuk's books, and they're all fantastic. His first 3 books are kind of like a wide picture, and then the latest book, it's called Jab 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 Right Hook. That's more of a it's not such a wide picture. It's more of a this is exactly how you need to post on Facebook and Twitter and all that. I learned a lot of my branding stuff from Gary Vaynerchuk. So, and something that he preaches is you are a brand. Even if it's you're just using your name, even if you're just posting on your Facebook to your friends, you are a brand at all times. So, um, it's in the it's I think the name is I don't know how to answer this one. I don't know why I picked this one because now I'm stumped. So, let's take Jimmy DiResta for instance. He uses his name as his brand, and he does a very good job of it. You see DiResta stenciled on everything, and that's very cool. And he has a unique name. There's something classy about using a name as well. Um, and and then if you come up with a company name, sometimes that can get you into trouble, or it can kind of pigeonhole you into something that you're not. So if you don't come up with the right name, people might think you do one thing, but you really do another thing. Or sometimes people might think that name is cheesy or doesn't sound professional and all that. So uh, I don't think there's an advantage to using your name or a company name. You just have to pick one and run with it. All right. So wrapping things up here, let me grab one more question. Good old Jack Holling. How do you get new project ideas? I keep notes. I use a program called Evernote, and I'm writing in that all the time, and it works on your desktop, your phone, tablet, Macs, PCs, Android, iPhone, and I use Evernote for everything. And so anytime I ever have an idea, I will either type it out into Evernote, or if I see something like at an antique store, I'm like, oh, I would like to do that, but in my way, I'll take a photo of it and it stores it right into Evernote. Pinterest is another fantastic place to gather ideas. I have some private boards that are not open, uh, visible to the public. So if I see something that I like by somebody else, I will put this in a project idea board that only I can see, and I won't copy that, but I will use that to kind of just get ideas from and try to make it my own. So that's a great question, and I don't know where ideas come from, but sometimes they just pop in your head. Sometimes I can't sleep, and that's when I get my best ideas. And sometimes I'm like, okay, when I wake up in the morning, remember this. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So, all right. Hopefully this went well. I hope you guys got some good information on there. This is my first time doing this. I just kind of wanted to test the waters and see how this worked. And what I would like to do in the future is some live builds. I would also like to do maybe a couple weekly wrap-up reviews in a live format. And so I'm using this to kind of learn to see how all this works. So please leave comments below on your thoughts on maybe how often we should do this, or if you have suggestions on how to make this better. I am. You can't hurt my feelings. I don't have feelings, and I love interacting with everybody. So help me make this better and leave some comments below. Thanks, guys, so much. That was a good time. Uh, beers and cheers.